to my channel. My YouTube channel name is The Planting Bug. If you are new here, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. I am so excited. Today I'm going to share with you a plant that has been on my wish list for a while, and when I found it in my town, I live in Utah, so I'm not in a big city where I get my hands on a lot of rare plants. So this one was on my wish list for a while, and when I saw it, I had to snag it. It was a little pricey, so I won't tell my husband that, but anyway, it was a little bit pricey, but I decided to get her. So this is a Philodendron Birkin. Take a look at her. Is she not gorgeous? Just look close up at the leaves. I love the variegated lines on her. If you feel them, they stick out, but they're just striking and gorgeous. And that's the one thing that I love so much about this plant. I have owned her now for a few months. I've been trying to get to know her, figure out what she likes, what she doesn't like. And so let me teach you what I know so far. I'm not claiming to be an expert on this plant yet, but so far it's going good. And yeah, so let me just kind of tell you how I care for her and all of that good stuff. So right now I have her in the nursery pot that I bought her in. Let me take her out. I'll kind of show you. Hold on just one second. Okay, so she's still in her nursery pot. I've been wanting her to get acclimated to my house and used to the area that I'm putting her in my house. So she's in a nursery pot right now. I've got it in this decorative pot, which I really like, but I do want to replant her, but I'll probably wait till spring. It is best to repot plants in springtime, unless you look down here and see that you're root bound. Now she has got some roots coming out of the bottom here. It's not bad. I'm not sure if you can see that. I don't want to spill there. I'm spilling stuff on my house. But anyway, so you can see some of the roots are coming out, but it's not horrible. So I may wait and just kind of see how she does. But again, just take a look at her leaves. So showing you here, she has pushed out some new growth. This one here is the most recent leaf that has opened up. When they first open up, they're a lot lighter, and then they darken up quite a bit as they mature, as you can see here. So this is a new leaf. This one here is a new leaf. This one here is a new leaf. And then if you look right here, you've got a new one sprouting up right there. And we are in November right now, so I'm excited because we're entering into the winter months, but she is still pushing out new growth. I do have this one here. I'm not sure if this just died and just didn't kind of fully develop, but I'm not too worried about it. Right now she looks great. So the Philodendron Birkins do love bright, indirect sunlight. So you don't want to put this in a west-facing window where it is directly on the sun all day. That is not good for it. But if you have it, off to the side with some bright, indirect sunlight, it can take up to about 12 hours of sunlight a day. It is a tropical plant, so it does like to see that sunlight. Where we are moving into the winter months, I want to make sure that it's not too close to a window. With me living in Utah, I also don't want this plant getting too cold. So I do have it. I will show you later in the video where I have it placed. But it does get a lot of natural, bright, indirect sunlight daily. So with watering this plant, and usually with all of my house plants, I have a moisture meter. And of course right now I cannot find my moisture meter, but I wanted to show you just once a week, sometimes twice a week if I have time, I'll check to see if this plant needs to be watered. And I do this with most of my house plants. But I stick the moisture meter in. If it tells me it's dry, I water it. Now I do not like to keep this plant too moist, too wet, because you don't want it to get root rot. It doesn't require being moist all the time. I do allow it to dry out quite a bit before I water it again. But since I don't have my moisture meter, I'm gonna go ahead and stick my finger into the soil. I'll go pretty far down in, and then when I bring it back out, if you look, it wasn't wet, it's not damp, so I do know that this needs to be watered. So either I'll take a watering can over to the plant and I'll water it, but the thing you want to make sure you do, if you take a watering can over to your plants and you water it, and you have it in a decorative pot like this, so say that I go ahead and I water it, you want to make sure that water is not accumulating down at the bottom of the plant pot. You don't want the roots to be sitting in water over time. That will cause root rot, and it is just not good for most plants in general. So it's really good if you can take your plant over to the sink, water it. Let me go ahead and show you here. So you want to take it to the sink. You can use, the water from the fountain or from your faucet, or you can just use a watering can like I am here, and I'm making a mess. Sorry. I'm going to go ahead and use my... So what you want to do is really water it, give it a good watering, like I am here, all the way through the soil everywhere. And you want to make sure that you have it in a pot, a container, that the water comes out of the bottom and thoroughly soaks through. You're wanting to make sure you're getting all those roots wet, all the soil wet, and then you just, before you put it back into your decorative pot, you really make sure that you've got that water out before you put it back in your pot. So like I said, with watering it, I usually end up watering it maybe once a week. That's usually all that it needs. But like I said, just make sure you're not just watering it before you check to see if it needs it. In the summer months, it may need to be watered a little bit more in the winter months, but just check it and just make sure it's not sitting in water at the bottom of the pot, and then make sure you're not waiting too long to water it and drying it out too much. Showing you here really quick where my Philodendron Birkin lives. This is our living room area. We have a west facing window here. So like I said, she gets a lot of bright indirect sunlight sitting here on this shelf. So I just have her sitting on this floating shelf that my husband built for me. So she does get that bright indirect sunlight daily. So she just sits here on this shelf. And I also wanted to kind of show you, I've got these little water jugs that I fill up, and I just have them sitting around my plants. If you look here, there's one. And I just know that helps with humidity with my plants. So I have those just kind of sitting around to help with the humidity as well. And then I've also got little humidifiers just helping every once in a while. So that is where she lives, and she seems to be very happy. So I did want to show you here, like I said earlier, I've got this new growth coming right here, but I've also got this one down in here. Let me get in here and show you. At first, when I was learning about this plant, I didn't really know that this was new growth. It looked weird to me. It looked like a root or something. But this is what it looks like when they first start pushing out new growth. They've got like a little line of pink, a little line of pink here down the center. And then it kind of just shoots up into this. And as you can see, the leaf will start shooting through, and then it will unfurl. So it's really cool. Room temperature, growing this house indoors, just room temperature throughout the summer, throughout the winter is what this plant needs. It's not really picky. I would say if it gets below 55 degrees, you know, that is going to be bad for it. So like I said, you know, I'm going into the winter months here in Utah. So I'm going to make sure this plant isn't sitting like right in front of a window where cool air is going to be coming in. But I'd also do the same thing in the summer months. And I would make sure that this isn't sitting by a window that's bringing in too much sun and heat. Just anything too extreme for this plant is not good for it. So also with humidifying these plants, it is not 100% necessary. This is not a real finicky plant that needs to have a humidifier on it all the time. You don't need to spray it all the time with water, but to do it every once in a while is not going to hurt it. I definitely do run humidifiers every once in a while, or I'll spray, I'll mist my plants every once in a while, and I'll make sure this one gets misted. But it's not a plant that really needs it too much. If you also want to add humidity to any plants, you can get like a tray and put pebbles in there and add water at the bottom. But like I said, you do not want water sitting at the roots. So you'd want to make sure that that water is underneath the pebbles. But doing anything like that with house plants in general is really good to increase humidity. So when it comes to fertilizing, definitely fertilizing your Philodendron Birkin. It is a major key to a healthy Birkin plant to help produce these large, beautiful leaves. A balanced liquid fertilizer is perfect choice. The liquid fertilizer should have micronutrients, calcium, and magnesium in it. These are two of the most important ingredients that a philodendron plant can have. You can also fertilize these plants every week in the summer months and spring months, but maybe not as much during the winter months, maybe only once or twice a month in the winter months. So when it comes to propagating, I am still learning on how to propagate it. I have found out that it's not as hard as I thought it would be. So I'm gonna definitely be trying to propagate this plant soon. And when I do, I'll bring you guys a video so that you can learn along with me. But I'm really excited to propagate it and have more of these plants in my house because, like I said, I'm in love. The second I saw this in the store, I could not even believe that it was in my little town store. And it was expensive. I hate to even say how much I paid for it. I hate that plants sometimes can be that expensive, but when this one's been on my wish list for this long, I had to get it, and I'm really happy that I'm gonna be able to be propagating it and having some more in my house. Now, the Philodendron Birkin is a toxic plant. This plant contains high amounts of calcium oxalate crystals. Calcium oxalate is toxic to both humans and animals. Your animals can die from ingesting large amounts of this plant. Smaller amounts can still make your animals very ill. So you really want to be careful with this plant and keep it away from small children and your animals. Okay guys, so this wraps up my video, real short and sweet video on the Philodendron Birkin. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys own this plant yet? Are you thinking about getting it? Is it on your wish list? Like I said, this one was on my wish list for a while and I was so happy to get my hands on her. But yeah, so if you guys aren't following me yet over on Instagram, my Instagram account is also called The Planting Bug. And if you are not subscribed yet to my channel, I'd love to have you join my plant family. So hit that red subscribe button down below and turn on the notification bell so you're notified each and every time I upload. All right, guys, I'll be back soon with some more plant care, plant tips, and just me learning and growing on my plant journey. Take care, guys. Bye.